Keys to the city. What does that mean? That phrase has been, around for quite some time now. Keys to the city. Well, keys to the city means that you have access to something that's really high value. Not necessarily keys to an actual city, but something that, you have control. You got passed down control. You unlock something that, now you have full control that now you can take over. How do you have the keys to the city? It doesn't have to be like a literal sense, but how do you have that? How do you have the keys to the city? How do you have ownership and control over something? Well, that ties back to, a master plan. A regular plan is something that's short term. A master plan, that's something that's long term. And, you can go for years or even months, doing something that eventually leads to, a certain goal that you have full control over, whether it's a business or something, or, an enterprise. So, how do you do that? How do you have keys to the city? Well, it's all about master plan. Master plans, they have no ending. And if you know what you're doing, if you know how to, calculate the outcome, you'll have control over something. And that's something that, that comes in time. Some people, they get it in a earlier age, some people get it in a later age. It depends on, what you're after. And, because throughout the entire time, the timeline of from start to finish, to really achieve something like that, it's all about discipline and timing. It's all about discipline and timing. Two main things that allows you to have something full control of. And if you're lucky to a certain extent, you'll have access/control to something much more earlier than expected. So you really have to be careful on how you manage this, because it's all about time management and the discipline to be able to achieve what you really want. And down the line there's going to be trouble, right? And it may take years, months to really have that end goal of having the control of whatever it is that you need. You need to be honorable to do so. It's not something that it's just a one-day process. And you need to have the respect. People need to respect you. And if you have not found that, then you're not there yet. You have to have the ability to be able to really push through people no matter what. And it's all about the master plan. There's no ending. Master plan has no ending even after you get the keys to the city, right? Now, how do you maintain that? How do you maintain control? It's all about focus. You have to be really, really, like, as what people say nowadays, you have to be locked in, right? You have to be really focused on something that you're after, because one wrong move and that's it. It's all over. You can't restart, go back, but it's gonna be much harder to even get there, because you're gonna be set back. Even if you're really close, you're gonna be set back if you do a mistake. Mistakes are normal, but you can recover and learn, as I talked about from my previous videos. Check that out, guys. But it's all about timing and having the master plan and the idea of, okay, what is something that I want to own? It can be a business, it can be an enterprise, it can be anything. And developing your own move, your own business or firm or whatever it is, it starts from one person, and then having a team, a group, because you can't just be all in one. You can't just do everything on your own. That's why many businesses fail, because it's all self-employed. You can't do that. So you own something that allows you to have a group. Okay, now you have access to something much more greater. You'd have control over something, because you're the one that owns everything. You're the one that is in control. So it really takes a lot. And it's all about patience, guys. And that really ties back to a word called karma. do something wrong, it's gonna affect you. Something good, it's gonna affect you. It's good karma and bad karma. And having the keys to the city, you have to have good karma. Have to do with something that is, people give it respect. And, you can do something so wrong as, waiting in a house, waiting for law enforcement to come in because you did something wrong. And that's a, different story for a different topic. But, at the end of the day, it's one person can only control one thing. It's not many people, multiple people. It's, or I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say you have a company, right? And it's public. Well, guess what? The stock ownership and everything, it's all fake. It's no real ownership, only one person. Unless you do a massive takeover, then now you have the keys to the city. Now you have, full control. But that's something that it takes discipline, patience, timing, and education. You have to be educated into something that, whatever it is that you're after for, to have fully a strong control over something. And along the way, you're gonna lose. It's normal. You're gonna lose something. You're gonna lose bad, but it's normal. It's part of the process. That's why, having control over something, it's not just a one-day process, guys. It's not. And just because you did something wrong, you did a mistake, doesn't mean that it's all over. It's part of the plan. It's part of the process, guys. You do something that was a little bit off calculation, off projection, whatever it is. Guess what? It's it's part of the process. You have to keep going because along the way to get what you want, at the end goal, you're gonna lose a lot of things, but gain a lot of new things as well. So that's another thing. Is that how do you stay disciplined even after losing something? Losing a goal or losing something along the way. Well, guess what? At the end path, having the keys to the city, you're pretty much gonna have everything. It's something that defines success in a way. A lot of people think success as money or whatever, but it's actually control over something. Along the way, it's all about having your own, ability to say, like, it's important to care about other people as well, but it's really have to care about yourself. You have to really think about yourself first. Why would you think about someone else when it's not, your life is not them. Your life is your life. So, along the way, there's people who are going to hate you for something. People are going to, say something about you, doubt you, do something that's going to be against you. But so what? People are going to judge you for something. People always love to hear the negative stuff. And the moment you say, you know what, I don't care about any of that, I'm just going to focus and get what I want, that's when you're going to make it. And, it sucks that some people just don't understand that. Some people just say, you know what, like, people give up. And, even the slightest mistake, it can really set you back. But you can push really hard, but it's going to be really complicated. You really have to say, in a way, you have to have that little, mindset of, what, it's just going to be me, that's it, guys. And, that's what it matters about, having keys to the city, having full control over something. Because someone's going to tell you, like, oh, do this instead. But what do they know? They don't know about your goals. They don't know anything about you. Why would you listen to someone else? Unless they experienced it. Obviously, people are much older than you. But be careful with listening to someone your age, because they're still doing the same thing you're doing. Getting to that end goal. So it's all about having the endurance. Having a master plan requires losing some ethics. You can have ethics, but you really have to lose some, because it's all about survival, and that's the main thing. And that's how you have the keys to the city. It's all about patience and timing, guys.